What's up guys, it's JPZ and today I'll be going over my hardware recommendations for Siege. The hardware pieces I'll be covering is keyboard, mice, headphones, monitors, and graphic cards. Timestamps to each section will be provided in the description. The resources I'll be using will come sometimes from people outside of the R6 scene, since these principles carry into many other shooters. This topic was requested from my comments in one of my previous videos. If you would like a topic to be covered in one of my future videos, leave me a comment or hit me up on one of my social medias. Playing R6 on the PC, hardware is something that won't be make or break in most situations, but simply allow you to perform at your most optimal. Meeting the minimum specifications for what most competitive players require is your goal. A keyboard that is comfortable, a mouse that allows you to be accurate, a headset that allows you to game for long sessions and hear both clearly and accurately, a monitor to be able to display the game smoothly, and a computer to pump out the most amount of smooth frames. That is the end goal, and this is what I will attempt to help you with in this video. While the concept seems simple, hardware is something I found a bit difficult to provide recommendations for due to my current status as a giant. For those unaware, I am 6'7" and above 270 pounds. Things that work for me may not work for you. Things like headphones and mice are very personal things where comfort and fit will be specific to you. For example, one of the headsets that I recommended to some friends recently, the HyperX Cloud Revolver 2s, they fit my head like a glove. I'm actually at the maximum of the headband and they fit perfectly. For some of my other friends, they had to figure out a little bit of an adjustment so it wouldn't sit too low and put clamping force on their chin. They were able to do so, but that was something that I didn't foresee just due to how much it fit me perfectly. Others, like keyboards, are not as difficult. Most keyboards are pretty standard, with various quality of life features being the difference. The key here is find a company that you like that makes mechanical keyboards, find the switches that you are comfortable with or which you like, and you're pretty much good. I use personally the Corsair K95 RGB with Cherry MX browns, but I previously used a Razer Black Widow that also had browns, and the only difference I found between them was some added macro keys, which mine has 18, and multimedia keys with a volume slider that was far superior. I didn't necessarily need to upgrade to the Corsair, besides the fact that I dropped water on mine. The differences between the two was negligible. I could perform just as well as either keyboard since they had the same switches and they had the same basic functionality. But regardless of that, the Corsair K95, as well as some other options, I will include in the description down below with prices and links to Amazon in order to purchase them. The couple ones I recommend in the companies, Corsair is my favorite for keyboards. Also, I have a little Logitech in there, a Razer keyboard, and some other brands that are typically recommended and used amongst the Rainbow Six professional community. Now, mice are something that's a far more debated topic, as many people have a lot of different preferences and many different hand sizes and different grips and different functionalities that they look for in mice. I have a friend that likes to have some type of lip underneath his thumb, so his thumb never touches the mouse pad. And so his mice are never going to be the same as mine, as I prefer to have something where I can grip the side of the mouse. I personally use a Razer Death Adder Elite. I have larger hands, as I've stated before. I'm a larger dude. I know many people swear by the Logitech G Pro Wireless, but I found that too small for my hand. There are some other mice that I've been looking at recently, including the glorious Model O, which is super light, as well as $50, and some of the Zowie mice, including the S1, which is one I'm looking at now, and the FK1. FK2 would be the smaller version of the same mice. They have some various styles and sizes in there. I will put links to that as well to see if that's something you guys are interested in. If you are interested and want to go down the rabbit hole that are mice, I'm also going to link to someone called Rocket Jump Ninja. He is the #1 person for mice reviews on YouTube. He has a top 40 list of all the mice he recommends, with links and size guides and everything like that to there. This could be a monumentally large video if I went into each mouse separately, so I'm going to put a link to his stuff as well. The key things with mice is find one that you like the grip, that supports your hand size, and has a good sensor. As long as you hit those three main things, you should be comfortable to aim at your optimal. Doing research like I do for every video that I make, this is where I spent the most amount of time, was on headsets. Headsets and audio are something that's a very personal thing that varies from person to person, and I've been kind of in the process of trying to figure out what my friends and people that around me use and how accurate the audio that they get from their headsets are. I recently had two friends that had some Logitech headsets that I would hear things in the game when I was from their point of view, and they would hear something drastically different than when I would make a call out. We found that I was typically far more accurate than their calls, and they've now switched away from those, and actually both of them ended up picking up the HyperX headsets that I use right now. So you won't see any recommendations for Logitech headsets based on that. I can't do it with good faith because I don't want you guys to die to the wrong sound calls. I did put some other headsets in the list that were used by pros, and one in there specifically, the Fnatic Gear Dual. That's a modular headset, which is really interesting to me and something I'm going to be looking at down the line. And as well as a cheaper set of HyperXs in case you didn't want to go for the full range of like $130 for a headset if it's a budget pick. But the key thing with any type of audio is find something that you can use for a long period of time that doesn't have too much clamping force on your head and gives you headaches, that doesn't make your head sweat too much, and that's something that gives you accurate sound. That way you can hear the call outs accurately. Next is Mousepads. Mousepads is something that's very variant. I link the stuff that I recommend, stuff that I find personally that's worked well for me, and some people that I know in the community has used similar, that's done well for them as well. I personally use the Glorious XL Heavy from the Glorious PC Gaming Race. I've also used the Corsair mousepads as well. I'm actually looking to upgrade mine eventually to the Corsair MM350, which they just released. And I know this, like, mousepads like the Steel Series QCK has been a staple in the gaming industry forever. And I also saw the HyperX Furies as being very popular in the pro community as well. So there's some 4 solid options for mousepads. You want something that's not going to bother your wrist as you're moving it across if you do happen to touch. You want something that's going to give you accurate and smooth tracking for your mouse. Those are the things you're looking for, and 4 of those should do very well for that. The last 2 sections are monitors and graphic cards. So we'll start off with monitors. So a monitor obviously is the thing that displays the pixels and the things you look at on your screen. So you want something that's quality. You want something that's going to be support a very high frame rate. 144 hertz is the minimum that most recommend. I do not recommend going below that. You might be able to get away with 120 if you find a super good deal on something, but typically 144 is the goal. With some of the professionals going with 240 hertz esport monitors, which can run you as high as like $400 for like the Zowie XL 2540 or something like that. So I put a link to 4 different monitors that fit, as well as what I'm using. I don't recommend going above 1080p because you want the performance to be as high as possible for the smoothest frame rates. I did not listen to my own advice because I bought this monitor for things other than just Rainbow Six. I bought it for other games I was playing previously. So I have a Nexus EDG 27-inch, which is a 1440p monitor with FreeSync support. I've had to get a pretty beefy video card in order to support it, but it's worked pretty well for me. I don't have any issues, but it's just not esports optimal, not Rainbow Six optimal. So I'll link you mine, but I'll also have 4 others for a recommendation there. And lastly, graphic cards. Graphics cards are what push out the pixels that your monitors display. So when it comes to this is where you can get really pricey. With the top card I listed on here, I listed 3 cards: budget, a mid-range, and a best for both AMD and NVIDIA, depending on which you prefer. I'm an AMD guy personally, so I have a Sapphire AMD Nitro Plus RX Vega 64. That's what I personally use. That allows me to push out well above 144 hertz on a 1440p display, so it would do way better if it was on 1080. The top of the line NVIDIA card goes for $770. That's the RX 280 FTW3 edition. But the lowest goes as low as 170 for the NVIDIA, and the lowest on the AMD side is 120 for the RX 560. Those cards should be able to pump out at least 120 FPS to support 120 hertz monitors, or being able to put you right in the ballpark as long as you have some pretty low settings. It should support you pretty well. But typically when I recommend cards, I recommend the mid-range cards. So it'd be a RTX 260 or a RX 580 in those areas, which can run you anywhere between $185 for the RX 580 or $370 for the RX 260. Those are both considered mid-range cards, but the price difference is pretty drastic. So I recommend the AMD cards in this scenario if you're on a budget, but if you prefer the NVIDIA, then look towards a 260. Those are my recommendations for the essential hardware to play Rainbow Six. There are obviously other parts of the computer that you are going to need in order to play. If you want me to go over full build lists and do some budget and other type of builds, I will be doing that in the future. I'm going to be doing a little mock run on my kit, which is kit.com/jpeasy. I'll have a link in the description where I'll be kind of making a budget machine as well as a high-end esports machines. There will be links to the parts in there. But if you want me to do a separate video with that, going over that, or even doing a live build on video, I can do that as well. As I mentioned previously, this was kind of more of a one-off video since it was a request. If you do have any more videos, ideas that you want requested, more in-game things, more technical things, I'd be gladly to answer any questions that comes my way. If you enjoyed this type of content, please leave a like and subscribe if you can, so you can see my videos go live. I also stream 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at twitch.tv/jpeasy. And as always, my name is JPeasy. Take it easy.